We are back on the Hampton Roadshow. You've probably heard the phrase dancing the stress away. Well, that works for adults and for kids, especially with the stresses of school. Joining me now to tell us more is Jessica Loring, the director of the Tirua Irish Dance Company at Moonlight Dance, along with Michelle Meyer, who's a dance student and also brings the very important perspective of a school counselor. And you know, kids may be saying, oh, I don't want to go back to school, or yay, I'm so excited about school. And then in the middle, there may be a lot of kids not talking about the stress they may feel about returning to school.
Right.
So what should parents kind of be on the lookout for? And then we'll talk about what a great activity dancing could be to alleviate it.
Well, children who have stress or maybe even depression, sometimes they come off as a little bit of anger. You know, they have all that energy built up.
Yeah.
And exercise is really good for relieving that stress.
Mm-hmm.
Children may not always talk about what stresses them at school. And, you know, sometimes there's bullying or just the curriculum itself
Sure.
can be very stressful. So they have a lot of pent-up energy, and a good way of getting that released is through some sort of exercise or sport or dance.
Or dance. Okay, I'm sure that sounds good to you. So tell
Definitely.
me about the programs that you have going on at Moonlight Dance, specifically for young students who may be feeling stressed out about going back to school.
So right now we've actually opened a new class for fall, which is for some of our younger students. And that's going to be on Wednesdays. We also have a lot of performance opportunities for them. We have competitions, but some kids are not into that because that can add a little bit more stress to
Sure.
them.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a lot of chances for them to perform, and also just the social aspect of meeting new friends and exercising. And it's for our younger children. We want it to be all about having fun. We want them to want to come back.
Yeah.
We want them to dance. We just want them to have a good time.
How do you see that this is working? You know, when you're teaching these classes and you see the kids moving and feeling good, what is your kind of measure of success in terms of how they walk out versus how they may have walked in?
So I do have a lot of kids who come in right after school and they're complaining that they're hungry and, oh, I have so much homework. And kids share a lot with me, actually,
Yep.
about this person picked on them at school and things of that nature. But by the end of class, they're happy, they're smiling, they're like, Miss Jessica, give me a hug, and they're just happier kids all around.
Yeah, even if the problem hasn't necessarily been solved at the root,
Oh, yeah.
the symptoms they're feeling may be gone. Maybe they just haven't thought about it for half an hour. So how does that then translate when they come to school in their performance?
Well, I just want to say, too, that when you do any kind of physical activity, your brain chemistry, your endorphins kick in. And that's kind of like a natural way of pleasure. And so when you move around by sitting down still, it can kick in those good feelings and feelings of accomplishment, self-confidence in doing their work, maybe more perseverance. We teach that at school, perseverance and hard work. Maintaining your goals, reaching your goals, and this all kind of blends in together. What they do on their free time kind of blends in together for school.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
that would certainly be the hope.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about knowing you kind of have a hand in this? You know, if the dance studio isn't all about the one or two huge performances a year,
Right.
but more like the everyday difference that you're making, what does that mean to you?
It really does mean a lot. I have a lot of kids who will tell me problems that they might not necessarily tell their parents. I build a trust with them throughout the year. I have a lot of students who want to come back and specifically ask for me because they've liked the way I've ran the class, but they also make a lot of friends who they can find have similar issues. And it really means a lot when, you know, I have a kid who I might just see on the street, or I might see, you know, in the grocery store, and they come up and they're like, Miss Jessica, I can't wait to come back to
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
And it just really shows me that they look forward to it, and it gives them something throughout the week to look forward to.
Well, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you to school counselors in schools all across Hampton
Thank
Roads
you.
for the vital role
Appreciate
that
it.
you're playing. If you'd like to learn more about the programs at Tirua Irish Dance Company of Moonlight Dance, you can find them at 1777 London Bridge Road, Suite 101 in Virginia Beach. You can call 757-716-3428 or find them on Facebook at Tirua Irish Dance.